Next day was much nicer with no rain or low cloud. We walked back into Funchal and took the cable car to Monte. We originally hoped to be able to get a combined ticket for the cable car to the Botanical Gardens, but it turns out, although this is advertised in places, it is no longer permissible. You have to buy tickets for each one separately. This is the usual setup at the bottom. There are big queues, so you're definitely better off buying your tickets online beforehand and then just putting the QR code into the reader on your phone. And there you go. It'll accelerate and drop it onto the proper cable, and away you go. As you can see, it's quite accessible for people with limited mobility, but it's obviously much easier if you can hop on and hop off. I really need to apologise for all the reflections, but this was the first time I'd really tried to use the Pocket 3 in a situation like this, and I do now have a polarising filter which will help me minimise anything like that. Anyway, we're getting ready to go. There's the main cable, and here we go out over Funchal. Onto the main cable, and away we go. You get a great view over the town. Yeah, as it says, the last time we came, it was back in 2016, they had a massive wildfire. It had gone on for a long time, and it had really damaged quite a lot of the island and come very, very close to Funchal, right up on the outskirts, on the slopes. And as we came up the cable car on that occasion, we went over quite a few burnt out properties. It's quite remarkable how nature can recover in a relatively short amount of time. I don't know how high we are in this gondola above Funchal, but it's almost like looking at a computer game, one of these city sim things, when you're looking down and you see the people walking around underneath you and cars driving by. It almost doesn't seem real. See people on that white pavement there, looks very odd. There isn't much of Madeira which isn't hilly, and so in order to find flat ground you sometimes have to build it up. So the amount, as it says here, terracing and buttressing that you actually need to build is really quite extensive, and it's remarkable when you have a look out of the gondola window and you can see the amount of work that's gone into it over the years, so that you can build houses and even have a bit of a garden as well. I remember we did an excursion the last time we were here, and we went over this bridge. There's actually very few good roads in Madeira, so what we'd call main roads in Britain. So if it wasn't for this, and there aren't, as I say, there's not many big bridges because of the expense, Otherwise, you have to get from one side of the valley to the other. You could go right up to a point where it's bridgeable and then come all the way back. And the views are just as spectacular coming the other way. You can see right down towards the harbour. And there's Voyager in dock. And there she is again. You walk from the upper cable car station for there. You walk down to this, quite a steep little road to this spot, and you buy your ticket at the window just in that little green building there. But it's a very steep walk to get down here. If you hadn't got great mobility, I really wouldn't recommend coming this way. You can get to the Botanical Gardens on public transport from Funchal or by a taxi. So if you do need a rollator or a wheelchair, you definitely don't want to come this way. This is steep. And boy, do you know about it when you're coming back. But it's really quite attractive. The gardens are set inside an estate owned by the Reed family, who founded Reed's Hotel, which I don't know anything about. I looked this up online the other day. And the Botanical Garden sits in part of it, but the whole area is wonderfully unspoilt. And you'll see better later in the video as we come back on the thing. But we got to the other end of the cable car into the Botanical Gardens and started to walk down. A lot of the plants are labelled, which is nice. Not that I'm a great gardener or horticulturalist or anything like that, but I do like to be able to, if I like a plant, at least I like to be able to know what it is and how find out whether I can grow it at home. But there are paths which are smooth, but again, it's built on a hillside, so there are bits that are steep. So great, but there's some hydrangeas in December, and they're long over back in Britain. This is another steep path. It actually runs all the way from the cable car entrance down to a viewpoint. It's very steep and sort of paved with this kind of rocky surface, and it's not great to walk on. So we decided to come onto this level and walk along there and just see what we could find. It's pretty well kept. It's a funny time of year perhaps to come. I have no idea what this flower is. It wasn't labelled, but it's a most peculiar flower. If anybody knows what it is, please comment under the video. This pond, I think, was probably used originally to gather rainwater, and now it's pretty much ornamental. You've got a few goldfish in it, but a nice little spot, which unfortunately there's no way to sit and just enjoy it. These beds are really quite well done, but I think they were coming towards the end. There were one or two which were starting to go over, as you'll see better later on. Not sure what the grass is to the right hand side. If it was in England, you'd probably say a cricket pitch, although somebody gave the ball a good clout, it'd probably be off. 6 would probably be picking it up off the bottom of the cable car. But yeah, it's this part in particular is very nicely laid out and well kept. At the other end of the formal gardens, you've got this little area of small ponds where there's some aquatic plants and succulents, and the ponds basically just gather runoff from the groundwater. And then looking the other way there, those ponds. And that building there is a kind of conservatory, which we'll go into in a sec, with some more tender plants. These are orchids, cat-layer orchids, quite a few of those, hung in baskets. Keep mine in pots, but otherwise there's quite a reasonable cafe with a viewpoint nearby where we had lunch. Some bromeliads there, unusual ones. Hibiscus, I think that one is. And this bizarre little sign was inside the gents. We walked back along one of the higher levels that overlooked the formal gardens, and it was much easier to see the way the beds were intended to be laid out. This one commemorates the gardens being opened in 1960, and the name of the original inspiration for it, guiding hand for it, who died in 2009 when it was renamed. And by then we wandered back up to the cable car, bearing in mind we needed to be back at the shipping because it was sailing around about 5 o'clock, I think. So we got back up to the cable car. It's not quite what you'd expect. I think possibly to get under some power lines and to reduce the height of the towers, I guess. You actually drop down into the valley first, and then reach a low point where there is a tower, and then you go up to the other station. But it really is very, very picturesque. It's a nice way to end your visit. And that's the low point. That's, you can see the shape of the runners. And now you start to climb. Completely wild, probably quite a lot like Madeira was many, many years ago. All over, I guess. And as we walked back along the front to the ship, we saw this shop with teddy bear decorations and this van. Anybody that knows Don Terrace, just Don, or Don's Family Vacations, you'll know all about his catchphrase. We ate in Vista that night. It was really good. It was the best meal we'd had so far that week. It's an included restaurant with an Italian theme, and we really enjoyed this food. Oh, and that Sicilian chocolate pudding, my goodness gracious me, that was nice. And Ruth had trio tiramisu on Explorer, but preferred this one. Christmas at sea was great, as you'll hear.
Marella Voyager, welcome to Christmas at Sea!
Oh yeah! Oh. You better not shout, you better not cry, you better not cry, I'll tell you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's got your lights. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you. Santa baby, you fill my stocking with a duplex and checks. Sign your X on the line, Santa baby. So hurry down the chimney tonight.
Come and trim my Christmas tree.
With some decorations bought at Tiffany.
I really do believe in you.
Let's see if you believe in me. Santa baby, you forgot to mention one little thing. A ring. And I don't mean on the phone, Santa baby.
So hurry down the chimney tonight.
I feel the treetop all day long, hopping and bopping and singing this song. All the little birdies on the Chamber Street, love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rock the robin, tweet, tweet, tweet. Rock the robin, tweet, tweet, tweet.
Just like the ones I used to know, where the tree
doesn't she look absolutely gorgeous? Yes, she does.
Can I tell you, she.
She? Me too. Lovely. Now, Broadway Show Lounge, are you all feeling festive?
Four pots of plants, three juggling bowls, two metal straws,
1, 2, 3.
and a turkey from the galley. I love turkey. On the sixth day of Christmas, Marella said to me, "Six dancers dancing fire will ring. Four pots and pans, three juggling bowls, two metal straws,
1, 2, 3.
and